Hello friends, welcome back to our channel NEET Biology Expert. I am Dr. Parveen. In this lecture series, we are studying Class 12 Biology, Molecular Basis of Inheritance. In this particular session, we are going to learn about the chemistry of nucleic acids. Before moving on to the detailed structure, that is double helical structure of a DNA, we must understand some basic chemistry of nucleic acids. So let's learn that in detail in this particular lesson. See, nucleic acids are long chain or polymers of repeating subunits called nucleotides. That means, for example, proteins are made up of smaller units of amino acids, right? So many amino acid subunits joins together to form a large structure, that is a protein. Similarly, for a nucleic acids to form many polymers of nucleotides are needed, right? So what is a nucleotide? Each nucleotide has three important components. That means nucleotide is made up of three important components. The first one is a nitrogenous base, The second one is a pentose sugar, and the third one is a phosphate group. These three compounds combine together to form nucleotide. Many nucleotides joins together to form nucleic acid, right? Okay, let's see the first component, that is pentose sugar. What is a pentose sugar? We have learned in our small classes, that is carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are basically sugars, right? So depending upon how many number of carbon atoms are present in the carbohydrate molecules, we classify carbohydrates broadly into three categories. That is monosaccharides, oligosaccharides, and polysaccharides. What is monosaccharide? Any carbohydrates which has 3 to 7 number of carbon atoms, they are called as monosaccharides. Okay, so they will be around C3 to C4, 3 to 7 carbon, not less than that. There won't be any 2 carbon or 1 carbon, not even more than that. Okay, so C3 to C7 carbon, if any carbohydrates is having, they are categorized under monosaccharides. Similarly, any carbohydrate which carries 7 to around 10 carbon atoms molecules, they are called as oligosaccharides. And polysaccharides means the carbohydrates which carries more than 10 carbon molecules. Okay, got it? Now, this monosaccharide is again classified into many types depending upon how many number of carbon are present. So if 3 carbon molecules are present, they are called as trioses. These are sugars, right? So trioses. If any carbohydrate is having 4 carbon molecules, they are called as tetroses, okay? And the sugars having 5 carbon molecules are called as pentoses, Similarly, sugars having 6 carbon molecules are called as hexoses. Sugars having 7 carbon molecules are called as heptoses. Now, we need pentose, okay? So, because for a nucleotide to form, pentose sugar is one of the 3 important components, okay? So, pentose sugars means they are basically a monosaccharide type of carbohydrates, okay? So, how many number of carbon molecules are present in pentose sugar? 5 number of carbon molecules. So, examples of pentose sugars are ribose and deoxyribose sugar. Ribose sugar is present in DNA. Deoxyribose sugar is present in RNA, right? Now, let us see the structure of this pentose sugar. Look at this picture. This is the chain structure of pentose sugar. So, this contains 1 carbon, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, there are 5 carbon in this pentose chain structure. Carbon number 2, 3, 4 and 5, it carries alcohol group OH, okay? Whereas carbon number 1, it carries an aldehyde group. We know that CHO means aldehyde group. OH means alcoholic group, okay? So, this is the basic pentose sugar. This is a chain structure. So, for any molecule to be functionally active, it has to be in a ring form, okay? So, we have to have a ring structure of the pentose sugar. So, let me draw here. This is the ring structure of a pentose sugar, okay? This is the ring structure. This is how it is present in a nucleotide, okay? So, how this chain structure is converted into this ring structure or ring form. Let's learn how. See, the carbon number 4, it forms a bond with carbon number 1. So as a result, the short chain will become a ring structure. Okay, how it happens exactly? What happens? The carbon number 4, it gives this OH group like this, OH group to carbon number 1. Okay, it brings its OH group near carbon number 1. Then it eliminates this hydrogen. This will go off. Okay, now here look, this carbon number 1, any carbon has 4 bonds, right, for its valency. Look here, 1, 2, 3, 4 bond is there. Okay, now one new oxygen is present now from C4, right? So in order to form a bond with this, okay, so this first carbon loses its one of its bond. Got it? Then it forms a bond with here, this with this. Okay, and here this carbon number 4, see, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that means the third one goes here, and 4. Its 4 valency is also balanced now. Okay, so now what happens? This oxygen forms a bond with this carbon. So as a result, this chain structure will become a ring structure like this. Okay, let us understand this much more in detail. See, this is the chain structure, right? So this is the ring structure. So in the ring structure, the center part contains oxygen. From where this oxygen came? This came from the OH group. Okay, so here comes the first carbon, the second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon. And we told that this is a pentose sugar. Then where is the fifth carbon? So fifth carbon will present above the fourth carbon like an arm. Okay, so like this, fifth carbon. Got it? So this is the ring structure of this pentose sugar. This ring is called as a furanose ring. Furanose ring. So here comes an important point. The furanose ring is made up of how many carbon? 4 carbon and 1 oxygen. How? 1 oxygen is here, and here we have 4 carbon. So out of the 5 carbons of the pentose sugar, 4 carbons and 1 oxygen joins together and they form a ring structure. So that ring is a furanose ring. Understood? Whereas the 5th carbon is present above the 4th carbon. So this is exactly what we call pentagonal shape. So pentose sugars are of pentagonal shape. Understand? Right. So let us see the other thing what it carries. Okay, so this is the first carbon, right? So the first carbon contains OH and H in both its ends. Similarly, the second carbon contains HOH. Third also contains HOH. Fourth carbon contains only H. Okay, whereas the fifth carbon contains CH2OH. Okay, understand? So this is the pentose sugar. There are 2 types of pentose sugar, ribose sugar and deoxyribose sugar. Ribose sugar is present only in RNA. Deoxyribose sugar is present only in DNA. Okay, so what is the difference between ribose and deoxyribose? Everything is same except only one small difference. Okay, see, first this picture shows this is a ribose sugar. Ribose sugar contains 2 hydroxyl groups, OH groups. OH groups means hydroxyl, right? So these 2 groups are functional groups. What do you mean by functional groups? Functional groups means these are more active groups, more active molecules. They only interact with other similar molecules and participate in the biochemical reactions. So let's learn the difference between a ribose sugar and a deoxyribose sugar. See, there is only one small difference, but that is going to make a huge difference in these DNA and RNA molecule. Okay, look here at the left is the ribose sugar. In the ribose sugar, at the second carbon and the third carbon, they present 2 hydroxyl group. That means these 2 are the active molecules or the active components of this ribose sugar. Whereas in the deoxyribose sugar, as the name itself indicates, deoxy, that means oxygen is deleted, removed. Okay, so from the hydroxyl group, this oxygen is removed. So as a result, only hydrogen is present. That is what present in the second carbon of the deoxyribose sugar. Got it? So in the ribose sugar, at the second carbon, hydroxyl group is present. Whereas in the deoxyribose, at the second carbon, only a hydrogen group is present. So this small difference is going to make a huge difference in the molecule structure. That means The ribose sugar have two functional groups, so as a result, they are more reactive. We know that ribose sugars are present in RNA. So RNA are more reactive than DNA. We can say the DNA has only one functional group, so it is less reactive. Any nucleic acid to be stable, to act as a genetic material, the first important thing is the nucleic acid should be stable. Then only it could carry genetic information generations after generation. If the nucleic acid is unstable, it breaks down or it undergo any other chemical reaction, it gets converted, means it won't act as a genetic material, right? So hence, since the DNA has only one hydroxyl group, it is less active compared to RNA. Since DNA is less active, it is more stable. That's why DNA is the genetic material. Understand? So that's why DNA is the genetic material. Got it? Fine. Now, let's move on to the second important component of a nucleotide, that is nitrogenous base. So what is a nitrogenous base? As the name indicates, it contains nitrogen, right? It is a base. So the nitrogenous bases are nitrogen containing molecules that have the chemical properties of a base. It is a base, that means a substance which could able to accept a H plus ion or a proton in a solution. Okay, that is the property of a base. This nitrogenous base, they are organic compounds. That means carbon containing compound contains carbon and nitrogen. So depending upon its structure, how many rings are present, the nitrogenous base are classified broadly into purine and pyrimidine. So purines are two examples, adenine and guanine. They are purine bases. Pyrimidine examples, cytosine, thymine and uracil. These are pyrimidine bases. Okay. In any nucleic acid, see, we have two types of nucleic acid only. One is DNA and another is RNA. In both these nucleic acids, purines and pyrimidines are present. Okay. So purines means adenine and guanine, whereas pyrimidines means, in the case of DNA, the pyrimidines are cytosine and thymine. Whereas in the case of RNA, the pyrimidines are cytosine and uracil. That means the thymine is replaced by uracil. The thymine is present only in DNA. Uracil is present only in RNA. Got it? Fine. So let us see the difference between the purines and pyrimidines. We can say pyrimidines or pyrimidines, both are same. Okay. First, the structure. The purines, if we see the structure of a purine molecule, it is dicyclic. That means it contains two rings. See here, this is a ring, right? So this is one ring and this is another ring. So purines are dicyclic. It contains two rings. And it contains nitrogen because they are nitrogenous bases. So how many nitrogens are present? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 nitrogen atoms are present in purines. Whereas in pyrimidines, it is only one ring. So monocyclic, and 2 nitrogen atoms are present in pyrimidines. Okay, right. Then where these nitrogen atoms are present? These nitrogen atoms are present at first, third, 7th and 9th position in this ring. Similarly, in the pyrimidine, it is in the first and third position. So look at this picture where the bases are numbered. Okay, purines and pyrimidines are numbered. See here, this is 1. In the ring, we have to give the number, right? Second, third position, 4th, 5th, 6th. And 7th, 8th, 9th comes here. First, we have to number like this and then go like this. Okay. So the nitrogen bases are present in first position, third position, 7th position and 9th position. Similarly, in the pyrimidine, they are in the first. Okay. Here comes second and third, 4th, 5th, 6th. So the nitrogen bases are present in the first and third position. So why we have to learn this? Because this is the position where the purines and pyrimidines, these nitrogenous bases, go and attach to the sugar molecule. So in order to understand that, we have to know this bit. Okay. So see, the nitrogenous bases are attached to the first carbon of pentose sugar. So just now I told these nitrogenous bases, they attach to the pentose sugar. So where they will get attached to the pentose sugar? In the pentose sugar, see, this purple color is the pentose sugar, which we have seen the first component, right? So this is the first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon. So at the first carbon in both here, this is the first carbon. So at the first carbon position of the pentose sugar, this nitrogenous base gets attached. If that is a purine base, the purine base ninth position, and if that is a pyrimidine base, the first position, N1. These two areas where they attach to the pentose sugar. Got it? See, the ninth position of the purine and the first carbon of the pentose sugar, they form a bond. They form a bond here. Similarly, the first position of the pyrimidine and the first carbon of the pentose sugar, they form a bond here. Okay, right? See, look at this picture. This is a nitrogenous base. Here, when we are talking about a DNA, let us consider the DNA as a ladder. Okay, so this is a ladder. The ladder will be like this, right? So for the ladder, the basic thing is its stairs, right? So how many stairs are present, that much the ladder will be strong also. So accordingly, the nitrogenous base, they form the building blocks of the nucleic acids. For DNA and RNA, the nitrogenous base, they form the building blocks. Like how the stairs are the building blocks for a ladder, similarly the nitrogenous bases, they act as the building blocks for the nucleic acids. Okay, so here we have seen 4 types of nitrogenous bases. That means purine bases are adenine and guanine, right? Pyrimidine bases are thymine, cytosine, and cytosine. So purine always pass with pyrimidine. Okay, see here like this. Purine, if this is a purine, means the other end will be pyrimidine. So there will be a bond here. That is a hydrogen bond. Okay, so when form a pairing like this, adenine always pass with thymine. Adenine is a purine, thymine is a pyrimidine. Adenine always pass with thymine. Similarly, guanine always pass with cytosine. Guanine is a purine, cytosine is a pyrimidine. Guanine always pass with cytosine. So look here, this is the molecular structure of adenine. This pass with thymine. So while forming the pair, here comes a bond. This bond is called as hydrogen bond. So in between adenine and thymine, 2 hydrogen bonds are present. This one, this one. Similarly, in between guanine and cytosine, 3 hydrogen bonds are present. 1, 2, 3. Why? Because their molecular structures are like this. Okay. So adenine and thymine always joins together. It won't form with like this. Adenine won't pair with cytosine, or guanine won't pair with thymine. Adenine always pass with thymine with 2 hydrogen bonds. Guanine always pass with thymine with 3 hydrogen bonds. Understood? So this is the nitrogenous base. So let's move on to the third important component of a nucleotide, that is phosphate group. So this phosphate group present in the nucleotide is derived from phosphoric acid. You know the molecular formula for phosphoric acid, H3PO4. H3PO4. Okay. So how can we write this structure? There is only one phosphorus. So write it at the center. How many oxygen? 4. So 1 oxygen, 2 oxygen, 3 oxygen, 4 oxygen, and 3 hydrogen. 1 hydrogen, 2 hydrogen, 3 hydrogen. Okay. And equivalency. Okay. So this is the structure of phosphoric acid. So this phosphoric acid has 3 active hydroxyl groups. These are hydroxyl groups. These hydroxyl groups are involved in the strand formation. Okay. So since the phosphate groups are present, that means phosphoric acid is present in the DNA and RNA, it gained the name nucleic acid. See, who first isolated nuclein? That means nucleic acid. Friedrich Miescher. He first isolated a substance from the pus cells that he named as nuclein. That time he found that this nuclein contained more amount of phosphorus. Okay. Later people discovered that this phosphorus gives the acidic nature to the nuclein. That's why it was named as nucleic acid. Okay. Right. So this phosphate group contains hydroxyl. So this is attached to the 5 carbon of the pentose sugar. So similarly, how previously we have seen the nitrogenous base attached to the first carbon of the pentose sugar. Similarly, this phosphate group attached to the 5th carbon of the pentose sugar. See, this is a pentose sugar. Okay, here will be the oxygen. So first carbon, second, third, fourth, and the 5th will be here. To this 5th present the phosphate group. Okay, look at this picture. This is a structure. So this is the pentose sugar, the first carbon of the pentose sugar. To that is attached the nitrogenous base. So since this has two ring structure, what is this base? This is a purine. So purine base means the ninth position of the purine base attached to the first carbon of the pentose sugar. Okay. Similarly, the fifth carbon, here comes the fifth carbon of the pentose sugar. To that attach the phosphate group. So this makes a complete nucleotide structure. See here, the bonding between these molecules at that position is very much important. Okay, it won't be changed. Okay, so look at this picture. This is a complete nucleotide picture. Here, pentose sugar, nitrogenous base, a phosphate group. This is the picture, like a mind map. You can just read this. Okay. Similarly, a pentose sugar is there, and nitrogenous base attached, and a phosphate group is there. So this is the structure of a nucleotide. So how this is arranged, with which bonds they are arranged together. Let's learn that. So the first important component of a nucleotide is a pentose sugar. So at the first carbon of the pentose sugar, the nitrogenous base is attached. If this base is a pyrimidine base, okay, then the first and third position will occupy here and forms a bond. If this is a purine base, then first, third, seventh or ninth position will occupy and form a bond. So here the ninth position is shown in this picture. Got it? Right. So how this is attached? This thing, that means the pentose sugar and the nitrogenous bases are attached together by glycosidic bond. This is what we call as N-glycosidic bond. So the important thing is, what are the bonds present in a nucleotide? So in between the pentose sugar and the nitrogenous base, okay, the bond is glycosidic bond. Similarly, at the fifth position of the pentose sugar, there comes phosphoric acid. We have seen the structure of the phosphoric acid, right? So the phosphoric acid is an acid, whereas here you see CH2OH. This OH group is an alcohol. So the acid is now going to make a bond with alcohol, acid and alcohol. Whenever an acid and alcohol forms a bond, there a water molecule gets eliminated. Okay, that type of bond is called as ester bond. Ester bond. Okay. See, though this phosphoric acid is an acid, this is not an organic compound. This is an inorganic compound. Okay, so this reacts with alcohol, and that time the ester bond forms. Look here, this OH group is there in the pentose sugar. Here OH group is present in this phosphoric acid. Okay, so here the H2O, the water molecule gets eliminated. So as a result, this form a bond. So this bond is what we call as phosphodiester bond. Why phosphodiester bond? I told you ester bond is formed between acid and alcohol whenever they make a bond. Phospho means since phosphoric acid is present here, phosphoric acid is present. So this is called as phosphodiester bond. So when we see a nucleotide, basically two types of bonds are present. One is the glycosidic bond that is formed between C1 carbon, okay, C1 carbon of the pentose sugar and the nitrogenous base, and phosphodiester bond which is present in between fifth carbon of the pentose sugar and the phosphate group. Got it? So this is a basic structure of a nucleotide. Now let's see the next thing, that is nucleoside. So there are two things, nucleotide and nucleoside. So the difference is very, very small. Okay. So first, look here, this is a nucleotide. Nucleotide contains phosphate group, pentose sugar and nitrogenous bases. Then what is the nucleoside? Nucleoside, only the pentose sugar and nitrogen base is present, whereas the phosphate group is absent. That means nucleotide minus phosphate group is called as a nucleoside. Understand? Otherwise, nucleoside plus phosphate group is called as a nucleotide. Easy. See here. What is the difference between a nucleoside and a nucleotide? So nucleoside means a combination of the pentose sugar and a nitrogenous base. This is what we call as nucleoside. So first nucleoside is formed. Then to that nucleoside, if a phosphate group is added, it becomes a nucleotide. So the combination of nucleoside plus a phosphoric acid is called as nucleotide. So why we should know about this? Because when you see in the competitive exams, NEET and other competitive exams, there will be many terminology they will give. regarding nucleoside, nucleotide, how they term the DNA nucleotide or an RNA nucleotide. That is important. Okay. So let us understand this thing. See, the first thing, suppose if a DNA molecule is present. Okay. So in the DNA molecule, what will be the sugar? The sugar in the DNA is deoxyribose, right? And so the pentose sugar in the DNA is deoxyribose. What will be the nitrogenous bases? Adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine will be the nitrogenous bases in a DNA molecule. Okay. So if this pentose sugar and the nitrogenous bases combines together, what will be the name given to that? That is what we are going to learn now. Okay. The names of the nucleosides in a DNA molecule. Okay. See. Deoxyribose plus adenine is called as deoxyadenosine. Deoxyribose plus guanine is called as deoxyguanosine. Deoxyribose plus cytosine is called as deoxycytidine. Deoxyribose plus thymine is called as deoxythymidine. So, in the examination, if something is given like this, say, deoxyadenosine, this is the name given in your examination. Okay. Now, you have to know that deoxyadenosine is a nucleoside of DNA. It contains deoxyribose and adenine, where deoxyribose is the sugar, adenine is the nitrogenous base. Understand? Very simple. Then, if that is a nucleotide, that means if these nucleosides, okay, contains another phosphate group, that will become a nucleotide, right? So, see here. The same thing is written, right? The same thing is written here. Deoxyadenosine, that is a nucleoside, plus 5' monophosphate. What is monophosphate? It contains one phosphate group. That's why it's called as monophosphate. So, deoxyadenosine plus monophosphate is what we call as deoxyadenosine monophosphate. Deoxyadenosine monophosphate, the same full name. Okay, it is, in short, we call this as deoxyadenosine monophosphate. Got it? Similarly, deoxyguanosine plus monophosphate is called as deoxyguanosine monophosphate. Deoxycytidine plus monophosphate, deoxycytidine monophosphate. Deoxythymidine monophosphate, same, everything is same. So here comes deoxy, deoxy, deoxy. So deoxy means here it indicates they are of DNA. These nucleotides are of DNA. Okay. There is another name. Actually, there are three names. Okay, I will teach you. The first name is like this: DAMP, DGMP, CMP, TMP, like this. Another name is adenylate, guanylate, cytidylate, thymidylate, like this, late. Understand? Deoxyadenylate, deoxyguanylate, deoxycytidylate, deoxythymidylate. So all this late. This indicates that they are nucleotides. Got it? Now, if suppose that molecule is an RNA molecule, how will we name it? Okay. So RNA contains ribose sugar, right? So the ribose sugar plus these are the nitrogenous bases. So if that is an adenine base, ribose sugar plus adenine, adenosine. Ribose sugar plus guanine, guanosine. Ribose sugar plus cytosine, cytidine. Ribose sugar plus uracil, uridine. So if these names are given, then you have to know that these are the nucleosides of RNA. See, these are the nucleotides of DNA. What is present extra here? Deoxy, because this is DNA. The deoxy is not present here. Baki all same. Okay. And what about the nucleotides? Same here. Okay. The nucleoside plus monophosphate. Okay. Adenosine plus monophosphate. Adenosine monophosphate. Guanosine plus monophosphate. Guanoside monophosphate. Cytidine monophosphate. Uridine monophosphate. So in short, we call this as AMP, GMP, CMP, UMP. These are all nucleotides of RNA, nucleotides. So similarly, they also have another name which ends with late. Adenylate, guanylate, cytidylate, uridylate. See here, deoxy is present, whereas this is absent. That means this is RNA. Deoxy is present means this is DNA. Understand? Very easy. See, DAMP means deoxyadenylic monophosphate. This is of DNA. Only AMP means adenosine monophosphate. This is RNA. Okay. So this is the difference between how we name the nucleoside and a nucleotide. Now, as I told you, this nucleotide has 3 names. So in the competitive exams, they will give any of these names. That time you must be clear. You should not get confused. For example, see this one, deoxyadenosine plus 5' monophosphate is also called as deoxyadenosine monophosphate. Just combine all the words, okay? Deoxyadenosine monophosphate, which we call in short DAMP, or deoxyadenylate, or deoxyadenylate acid. See here, acid comes. Why? Because phosphoric acid is added. That's why we name this as acid. Deoxyadenylate acid, deoxyguanilic acid, deoxycytidylate acid, deoxythymidylate acid. All this acid. So 3 names for nucleotides. DAMP or deoxyadenylate or deoxyadenylate acid. All these are same. Got it? Suppose if that is an RNA, same. Adenylic acid, guanylic acid, cytidylate acid, uridylic acid. Understand? So these are the names how we must remember. Okay, nucleoside and nucleotides. Got it? Now see, look at this picture. This is a DNA. Okay, so in this DNA strand, as I told you previously, if we take the DNA strand as a ladder, compared to a ladder, okay, the ladder has 2 railings, right? So like this railings, these are the phosphate. The phosphate groups act as a railings for the ladder. Okay, then here we have the stairs. Like the stairs act as the nitrogenous bases. So the connection between the phosphate and the nitrogenous bases is the pentose sugar, which is present here. Got it? So this is how the structure of a DNA will be there, but it will be in a spiral shape that we are going to see in the next lecture. So here in this DNA molecule present 3 important bonds. The first one is the hydrogen bond. The hydrogen bond is present in between the nitrogenous bases. If it is an adenine thymine base, then 2 hydrogen bonds are present. If that is a guanine and cytosine base, they present 3 hydrogen bonds. Okay, so in between the nitrogenous bases, to make it hold, okay, these are the bonds. Hydrogen bonds are present. Then the second type of bond is the glycosidic bond, that we call as N-glycosidic bond. Where it is present? Glycosidic bond is present in between the pentose sugar and the nitrogenous base. Here all these things are glycosidic bonds. This is the second bond. Okay, third bond is the phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond is present in between the pentose sugar and the phosphoric acid. These bonds are called as phosphodiester bonds. So hydrogen bond, N-glycosidic bond and phosphodiester bond. These are the 3 bonds present in a DNA structure. Got it? So in our next lecture, we will study in detail about how the DNA double helix arrangement is present. Okay. So if you like this lesson, like, comment and share and subscribe to our channel, NEET Biology Expert. Thank you.